Okay. So hello. Hi, how are you? If you are in this over here, sorry, I'm going to talk to my computer for just a moment. Um, eh, there's no chat. I'm so sorry because I cannot focus on two different things at once. So I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so we're going to do Listen for the Lie first by Amy Tintera. All right. Yeah, this microphone it's for the jokes. It's for the crispy ASMR, nice little whatever sounds. I don't know. It's for you. If you have so much fun watching the live on TikTok, you can come over here and you can watch the whole thing all over again, over and over. All right. So let's hear the rapid fire. What did you rate it? Let's hear it. As long as the lemon trees grow, it's so good. Wow, I'm seeing overall like pretty high scores. I have yet to see anything. Oh, I was going to say I have yet to see anything under a 3, but I just saw 2.75. None of this is true vibes. I didn't make that connection while I was reading it, but I do totally agree. I think the audio version would have been cool. One of your favorites of the year. Mom gave it a 1. What about you, Dad? What did you give it? A 1. Ooh. That was going to be my next question. How many? A 2. Oh man, Mom and Dad did not like this one. How many of you show of emojis did you listen to the audiobook? Did you read it with your ears instead of your eyes? Can we just read Frida McFadden? You guys you're so funny. Okay. I'm really loving all of the choices of emojis that you're using. Okay. Nice. For the full immersion. Yep. All right, cool. Okay. So if this is your first book club, hi, hello, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. The way that book club goes is that we're going to go one at a time, each of the books. I always start off the same way, asking you guys what you rated it. How did you consume this book? Did you do it with your eyes or with your ears? And then I'm going to give you my thoughts I had before I read the book, and then the thoughts I had after I read the book. And then I go through it and just discuss whatever little annotations, comments, questions I had while I read it, and we discuss. And then when this one is over, then we move over to the other book. And then we discuss what possible books we will read for next month. So that's how it works. And I will do my best to answer any questions or whatever that are in the comments, but don't get too sassy because I have 3 moderators, okay? And they will boot you if you get too crazy, okay? Okay. Let us begin. Okay, so my pre-read thoughts of this were I've heard almost all good things about this one, so my hopes are quite high. I've also heard that the audio version is really good. So I'm gonna try both. And Nikki the Queen will kick you. Okay. My post-read thoughts was firstly, the audiobook was very well done. I really, really enjoy audiobooks that are produced this way. It really reminded me of if anybody's ever listened to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, it's done almost the same way, where there's like little background noises. If like the podcast part is filmed at a like cafe, then you hear like the hustle and bustle of like coffee machines in the background. There's like different voice actors and all that stuff. And it's just like, it's really immersive. And I think it's I really appreciate it when they go the extra mile to have that kind of production quality. So, I highly recommend listening to it over the physical book because the physical book was, like, okay, but the audio was much better if you have a choice between the 2. Overall, I feel like the story had too many characters. Personally, that's how I feel. Too many people were sleeping with people that weren't their spouse. It was like, what is in the water in this town? It became almost redundant that it lost its shock value after like the 5th confession of infidelity. It was like, okay, too much, too far too much. Also, I'm disappointed with the ending. I don't exactly know who I wanted it to be, but I was a little disappointed in who it ended up being. Like I don't know. I wish it was somebody else. I don't know. I felt like it was just kind of like lame. Like it's one thing to like completely have a twisting, shocking ending that you didn't see coming, but then it's completely different when you're reading a book and you feel like even the author themselves didn't know who was going to be the the criminal until they suddenly decided, I think I'll make it this person. Like it's almost like they didn't even know where the story was gonna go until, like, the moment before it was revealed who the bad guy was. So, like, that's kinda how I felt about it, like, it didn't really connect. The grandma would have been amazing. I loved Granny so much. She was the best. I wrote boring in the summary. Loved Granny. Okay, anyway, so I gave it a 3.5. It wasn't the worst thriller I've ever read. It wasn't the worst thriller we've ever read for book club. But it was just, I don't know. It was okay. Didn't blow my socks off. But, if you have a full day of chores ahead of you, or if you have a long car ride and you need an audiobook to listen to, then I think that this would be a good one. Okay, so my very first comment was on page, well, I shouldn't say page numbers because this is the ARC copy, so it might not match up. But at the end of chapter 1, so did you do it? I sigh, I don't know. Seriously, that's the truth. The truth doesn't matter. And I was like, well, that's oddly suspicious. And then when it talked about chapter 2, it was destroyed again the next day when I decided to take an early morning stroll with her blood drying on my dress. Girl, what? Like, I mean, we know at the end, like, why that, but I was like, how can you just be so, like, nonchalant about it? Like, you sit on a throne of lies. And then when, like, I don't know what chapter this is. Chapter 3. I really should try less to be, an a-hole. I don't want to think about her, but I can't seem to. I can't seem to stop it. I don't do it with everyone, but I've imagined a whole lot of people. Ma'am, ma'am, why? Why? I will say I wasn't expecting the voice in her head to be, her friend. I honestly can't even remember what her name was. Eliza. She wasn't there before I give her credit. Okay. You're correct. If Savvy was always in her head, why didn't Savvy tell you who killed her? Dad, you just uncovered such a huge plot hole. That's true. If it was Savvy in her head, why didn't she just say, I didn't even think of that. It honestly kind of like the voice in her head reminded me a lot of that book Mary by Nat, whatever Nat's last name is, because it totally reminded me of that. Pops just blew the whole book up. Ah. Dad, you're a genius. Okay, random little comment at the end of what chapter is this? Chapter 4 says, she's also expressed concern more than once about being force-fed kale if she ever visits California. Texans hate California. And I said, that's so true. Why is that? Whenever, like, I've lived in both states, but it's funny because being military, you meet people, all from all over. I remember being at the park once, and this like mom sat next to me, and we had a chat while our kids played. And she said that she used to live in Texas. And then she started just like openly bashing people who lived in California. And she hadn't yet discovered that I'm from California. And I was just like, okay, what did we do to you? I don't understand. Us Californians, we're ruffians up to no good. So yeah, I made a note that I really enjoyed like the podcast chapters like on the audiobook because it's just really well produced. And man, people in this town really, really hated Lucy. Like in all of the interviews and stuff. Lucy Chase lives out there too. Horrible woman. Savannah was an absolute peach. Just the sweetest girl you ever met. I hope you nailed Lucy's murderers to the wall. Yikes. California. It's crazy. I don't know why. Yeah, the town was super toxic. Everyone there was so judgy and rude. But I mean, so the podcast chapters were really like cool production wise to listen to the audiobook, but I will say that it added to my confusion on like how many characters there were. It was hard for me to like I needed a whiteboard. I needed a whiteboard to keep it track of who was who and who like how they were related to one another, who was dating who was married to who. It was all very confusing because there was like too many people. Because she wasn't the sweet Southern girl. Yeah. I don't know. Okay. So episode 2, little podcast thing where Ben and Ross were having a chat, I suppose. Do I have to be politically correct about murderers now too? Blah blah blah. And just like totally like going in and calling her all kinds of names. And I said, everyone in this town seems so terribly unhinged. Also, Lucy's mom. Can we take a moment to discuss Lucy's mom and how absolutely horrific that woman was? Lucy's mom was terrible. Terrible. Trash. Every time there was a scene with her in it, I was just like, ugh, stop it. Let me start my speech. Let me get my notes. Colleen, I agree. Yep. Yeah, the dad was not great either. But the mom was like extra terrible. Go off on Queen of Cyberspace. I mean, yeah, Rachel, that's why the dad like also was terrible because he was just so. How are you gonna stand there and like let your like wife treat your kid like that? Ugh. He didn't want the drama. Well, he had it, whether he wanted it or not. Same. I mean, based off of the book we read last year, where I admit that if I had evidence to prove that my child had done terrible, horrible things, like I wouldn't keep that secret, but I wouldn't just like assume that my child was, capable of such atrocities. And to believe it all because of Matt. Yeah, I mean, her ex-husband totally was that the ex-husband's name? I don't remember what anybody's name was, but the ex-husband was awful, awful. Well, in our defense, a boy said so. I mean, he's the man, so we have to believe what he says. Agreed. Agreed. Mats historically have been trash. I don't I I don't have any history to go off of, but I trust you. I know that my sister has a bad mat under her belt, so I believe you. She was wannabe boy mom. Okay. Then, we really get to enjoy Granny and just like her chaos. Loved Granny when she was talking about I seriously don't understand developing a drinking problem in your 70s. Mom says grandma sits at the head of the table. Why not? The way I see it seems like a perfect time to develop a drinking problem. It's dull as hell around here. I'm like, Granny. We are only like 50 or so pages into our first book. So you didn't miss too much. Granny was like the Granny in the Stuffy Plum series. Oh, I loved her. Yes. Ugh. And also, yes. Okay, let's see. I didn't write too many notes, it looks like. This is why I should always tab my books because I would get to the pages a lot easier, but I'm very lazy. You can see this being made into a movie. We're discussing Listen for the Lie. How are you guys doing over here? Are you doing good? All 15 of you? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying it. Oh my gosh, girl, did you write anything in this book? Holy Moses. I think I was just in it for the vibes. Okay, I finally found a note. Like 100 pages later. The birthday party was a fun dumpster fire. You're sending me tabs. Okay. Well, don't send them here, babe, because I ain't gonna be here. Okay. Let's see. Oh, when mom like screams at everybody that her and Colin hooked up the night of the wedding. Are you happy, Ben? You got me. I slept with a 20-year-old, and to be honest, I enjoyed it. And what I wrote was the full body cringe that I just had. Blah. Blah. The gasp. Gasped. Yucky. Absolutely yucky. And it's like when you weren't like just a crap mom before, but now like you're also just like really embarrassing and yucky. You had to rewind that part in the I like paused it and I was like, did I just The mom cheating was totally not needed. I mean, there are so many affairs that happened in this that were not necessary whatsoever, which that's why I said in the beginning of my, like, little review is, like, most of the time in thrillers, like, cheating happens, right? It's, like, one thing that, like, progresses the plot or, like, makes you hate a certain character or whatever. It's, like, supposed to be kinda, like, shocking and whatever, and that's all fine. Um, but when it's, like, almost every single character is cheating on somebody, then it's, like, it's not shocking anymore. It's not it's, like, you know, too much. Too much. I need a plot twist with this chapter. Oh, cheating. Who have I not made sleep with each other yet? Retitle. Yeah. Like nobody could keep it together. Oh, and then we find out page 1, like right after mom confesses to being with Colin is when we find out that Savvy's voice was the voice in her head. And then we got our first like 5 years ago chapter. And I was like, "Wait a minute, what? What?" And I wrote, okay, so her, Savvy, and Lucy are like somewhere and they're having a chat, right? And then Savvy says, "I have an idea." She leaned closer to me. She met my eyes. Her mouth was set in a hard line, her gaze steely and serious. "Let's your husband." I was like, I wrote, "What?" And I said, "Not gonna lie, up until this moment in the book, I've been kind of bored." And then it got like a little interesting. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. We will get there. Trust me. I am the biggest hater, and I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to go on the rant right now. I am the biggest hater for unnecessary romance plots in thrillers. Authors, listen to my words loud and clear. If you are writing a thriller where the main character of your book is a female and she is single, do not make her hook up with somebody just for the fun of it because it is annoying. It is unnecessary, especially if it's like, it does nothing for the plot. It does nothing for the plot except for aggravate me. There have been so many books that we have read in book club where it's like, of course, they have to hook up because why fucking wouldn't they, I guess? It like rubs me the wrong way. It makes me so aggressively angry because it's implying that like no female main character in a book could just be content being single. They always have to like pair up with somebody. And it's always like from 0 to 100. Like especially in this one, didn't they only know each other for like 3 or 4 days? It's just terribly annoying and I hate it. And I will like always aggressively hate it. Cause it's like this, and especially since this book is already so filled with everyone like being with each other and stuff, it was just like, of course. Why not? I mean, it's one thing if the coupling up happens like at the very end, like in the epilogue or whatever. But when it happens like in the middle of the book or like 2/3 of the way through the book or something, because usually it'll be like what happens when I read a plot that has that like unnecessary coupling up, I immediately think he's the suspect. He's the one who did it. Because why else? Because you have to like traumatize your female main character even more by having her let her guard down and then hook up with this guy who's going to turn around and be the bad guy at the end. Like that happens so often that it's like Very predictable. Who dates a man producing the podcast making you out to be? I don't know. Hello, Jenny. We're about halfway through Listen for the Lie. Is there no other way to build tension? What would he have done? Probably lied because that's what the name of the book is. That's my guess. I don't know. He probably would have just lied for her. There was so much not happening that they needed to make it look like something was happening. You tell no lies. The men were all one syllable and one dimensional. You're truthing. You're truthing, Colleen. And then, Matt is super shady. So he's like being interviewed by Ben. I think I crashed on a buddy's couch once or twice. Yeah. Well, I have two people who they say saw you regularly coming in and out of the house of a woman I'm choosing not to name here for her sake. They say two of you have been sleeping together since before Savannah died. They also said that the woman started spending some nights at your house very soon after Lucy left. I was just like, ugh. Matt, you gross. Matt is gross. All the men in this book are awful. They were not great. Okay. So page 164, I don't know what page that is in your book because this is an ARC copy and so usually they don't line up, but it's like the last page of chapter 23. I wrote, I really hope there isn't a forced love plot between Ben and Lucy. And then I went back to this annotation once it happened and I said, well, we all knew that was going to happen. Why was everyone? It's like everyone was just a filthy liar as soon as they introduced him. Talk about unoriginal. Talk about low quality. I'm just kidding. I'm just bitter. Okay, we have some more good granny moments. So chapter 24. Okay, I acted dumb when he asked me about your books, by the way, Grandma says. But he told me you guys talked about it. I know it's only a matter of time before it comes out. Ben said he's not telling people. I'm not, he says quickly. Yeah, but if he can figure it out, other people can too. And now everyone is thinking about me again. I cast an annoyed look in Ben's direction, which he ignores. Maybe not. I hope people are really like that in their 20s the way they are in your books. I was like, good Lord, Granny. And then at the bottom of this page, my life vastly improved once both of those men were gone. Men don't protect us, not really. They only protect themselves or each other. The only thing men ever protected me from was happiness. And I said, Granny chooses the bear. That's what I wrote. And then the next page, so they were saying that that Granny, I guess, thinks that Matt is the one. Oh, he's watching Grandma and her suitor. She laughs at something he says. You should finish episode 5. Why would he say? He takes a long sip of his drink. She thinks that Matt is the one who did the thing to Savvy. And I wrote, it actually makes total sense if Sav was like plotting to off him, and then maybe he just got to her first. Like that would totally, like that makes sense. What is How could you guys just let my hair be this atrocious right now? You guys are true friends, or you're not. It's looking rough. It would have been too obvious. Well, because he was already like an abusive husband. So it would have been really obvious if he was also the murderer. Matt made a lot of sense halfway through, so I knew it wasn't going to be him. Mm. Okay. Okay, let's go. Okay, so then chapter 25, more lovely mom moments. I didn't accuse him of anything. I just told everyone about the horrible things he said. If he didn't want them out there, he shouldn't have said them. That's what Granny says. Men say, Mom says, and I reel back in surprise at the curse. We're a bad influence on her. They talk and talk sometimes. It's horrible, but that's the way they are. It doesn't mean anything. Like, okay, mom. Okay, mom. Okay, mom. Then let's see. Yeah, I wrote at the end of chapter 26. I wrote, I don't think Matt did it. I think he's just a jerk off. No one was lovable in this book. It was disappointing. I didn't even totally love Lucy. Oh, I love that show though. I love Lucy, but you thought it was both of the parents at one point? Like attack but what would their motivation be? Okay. Chapter 27 at the bottom of this page, the second page, it says, I could have hold on. Like I had nothing to say to the police. So what could I say? No, officer, I definitely never would have Savvy because actually we were planning to my husband together. Not much of defense. Not much of a defense. I could have confessed that plan and my suspicions that maybe for whatever reason we decided to go after Matt that night and Matt Savvy in self-defense. And then he let everyone think that I did it as a giant cue to me. And I said, you gotta admit, that's a solid plan. And then at the end of this chapter, chapter 27, is when her and Ben, I believe, right? Is she with Ben? I can't tell. Yeah, when Lucy and Ben hook up. And I wrote, I specifically asked for them not to do that. Granny was the main character. That was the twist. Agreed. Agreed. Okay. At chapter 29, I was a little confused. Okay. Like all this back and forth in time and her remembering things and her like having Savvy in her head. I was confused on like what's delusion and like what's memory and like what's really happening in front of her face. Um I close my eyes, my heart pounding. I don't want to think about this. I'm sitting here waiting for the only other person in the world who knows Savvy's darkest secret. I killed. Savvy appears next to me, both feet up on the dash, blue toenail polish chipped. She flashes at me a grin. Want to know a secret? I nod. Dude, and I'm not sorry. He deserved it. So it's like that was a flashback, right? Of like her admitting to that in the past. There was a few times where the shift in time. Okay. Okay, I'm glad that I wasn't the only one who felt that way. Like the actual, like the main one of the whole book? Because it was sort of explained. I give it like a 3.5. Oh, no, I don't really know. Like, if they went over that, like what Savvy did to the guy in her past, or if I just like accidentally skipped over it. Okay, it was explained. Um okay, more terrible mom moments, chapter 32. Um let's see. They've all been waiting for me to get home. I spent the entire day avoiding them. What does that mean? Not exactly the same, Grandma squints. Like I said, he had a temper. He threw some glasses at the wall, stomped around a lot. But he didn't hit you? Dad asks nervously. Of course he didn't hit her, Mom explains. She lived 5 miles down the road. We would have known. And I wrote, this mom physically pains me. And then the next page, Mom lets out a breath. Like that was exactly what she was worried about. I'm like, this mom sucks. She's terrible. Guy's name is found out at 1.2. I don't remember. I didn't know. Sticking up for everybody but her own kid, I suppose. Okay. So then we get to the part where Ben and Lucy are in like his hotel room together or whatever. And then Paige walks in and she says, Ben, she presses a hand to her forehead. Ben, I swear to God, you stupid. And I wrote, I'm with Paige. Them together is stupid. Also, I don't know if I'm just biased from all the thrillers I read, but Ben is acting so sus. This whole conversation about high school and the Reddit threads and him saying that it hit to saying not to use the word crazy. He's just giving me really bad vibes. I hope I'm wrong because that would make this book very, very cliche. What if it was Ben? That's what I'm saying. Like, there have been thrillers I've read in the past where the main character is a woman, and she is single, whatever, and then she gets like, heart eye emojis for some random dude, and then he ends up being the murderer at the end, just to like add extra trauma to this poor female main character. All right, we're coming to the end here. Okay. So there was a moment where I thought that the dad and I have to agree with you. There was a moment where I thought the mom and the dad did it, even though I don't know what their motivation would have been. But there is this episode that's interviewing between Ben and Lucy at the end, where Lucy says, it was obvious he thought I did it. Let me try and get this right. He said, I don't need to know what happened, like speaking about her dad. I don't need to know what happened. I just need you to know that I'm on your side. And if you suddenly remember anything, do not say a word to anyone until you talk to me. Now, I hear that as something guilty. Like, if you remember that you saw me that night, don't go to the police first, go to me. If you remember anything, come talk to me about it first. And then why didn't he immediately say to me, I know you could never do this. I know you're not capable of this. Neither of my parents said that to me. And I said, because they're guilty, question mark. I'm like, what if Savvy was sleeping with Lucy's dad and then the mom killed her? I think there was another one of you who thought the same thing. Ah, yes. Yes, Jilly. We thought the same thing. Oh, good. I mean, the mom sucked. Like, she was so terrible. So it would not surprise me if they were the Okay, I don't understand whatsoever if like okay, what chapter is this? Chapter 44. Lucy is with her ex-husband. It doesn't matter what he says, but it matters to me who killed her. I want to know if it was. Oh, okay. I had to verify that I wasn't like a robot or whatever. Okay. Blah 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 blah. She was out that night. So she's like having this whole thing, blah blah blah. I glance over at the wedding photo above the mantle. If I squint, it could be our wedding photo. If I squint, this whole house is mine again. This whole life is mine again. My pulse begins to race. A sick feeling rises up in my throat, and Matt leans forward and kisses me, and I kiss him back. Why? And he's like, don't go back to LA. We can go somewhere else. We can start over, just the two of us. I've missed you. What happened to us? What do you mean? He what? She's smooching with the what's the words from Home Alone? Ugh, immediate ick. Smooching with everybody. Smooching with everybody. Anyway, I thought that was super gross. Oh, I didn't have any comments for a long time. Oh, there we go. There's one. And then we find out that it was Emmett the whole time. And it was just very appropriate for the whole man versus bear conversation that happens on TikTok because it's only because she rejected him. Because he felt entitled to her body, because he was such a good friend, and blah, 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 blah. I spent my whole life waiting for you, being the nice guy, being the friend, and this is how you repaid me. He grabbed me by the shirt, hauling me to my feet. It was out of the blue. Thank you. There was like no evidence. That's what I'm saying. Like this whole book, I truly feel, Amy Tintera, if you are in here, please leave. It truly feels like this book was written with no like idea who the actual culprit was. And she kind of just wrote it that everyone was suspicious, and she kind of just like had no idea who she was going to choose at the end. And then when it was like 20 pages left, she's like, oh no, I have to pick somebody. I pick Emmett. Emmett did it. Yeah, she just like she had a poster on her wall and then went like this and then threw a dart at it and was like, okay. He's the one who did it. He keeps talking vibes. And that was all the notes that I had. Maybe she wrote that way on purpose. I mean, maybe. Who knows? Emmett did it because nobody will guess. I think it would have been fun if Granny did it, and I wouldn't have even been mad about it. That would have been funny. Like, you go, Granny. The motivation for Emmett didn't make any. I mean, we see it all the time, right? Oh, hi, honey. We see it all the time, like in true crime documentaries and in podcasts and stuff. Like, they're tiny, tiny egos, and then they like lash out if they get rejected. So, like, it made sense. Like, in a real world aspect. But for like this story and like how it was structured and like the shadiness of everyone, it didn't quite make sense. I was bored. I didn't like her tattoos. Okay, does anybody have minute any last things they'd like to discuss before we move on? You're gonna reread it later. Need to find a new job. Savvy being the only one to protect Lucy Hay Harden. Yep. And how like the whole town turned on her. The first housemaid? How exciting. How exciting. Okay. Let's keep trucking along. First, hold on. I want to know, by show of emojis of your choosing, how many people did not read or did not finish it? Okay. So, for the first time in Bestie Book Club history, I DNF'd this. I did not finish it. I tried. But I couldn't finish it. This is a first. This is never in the history of Bestie Book Club has this ever happened. I always push through. I always finish it. I always finish it for the besties. I couldn't do it. And I think maybe I'm just like too distracted with, my real life right now. I just couldn't get into it. I couldn't. And it was like I found myself reading the same page over and over and nothing was penetrating. I was like, what is happening? I don't understand anything that's happening. I felt like there was too many like unnecessary conversations between characters that like it to me felt like it had nothing to do with the plot or moving it like progressing it along. I also really hate books that are long chapters. It just feels like it drones on, like there's no like structure to it. I totally understand that this was originally not written in English, so I'm not faulting it for that at all. I just, for me, I could not. It could not. So I made it about 150 pages. I made it this far. And yeah, so like my pre-read thoughts were, I've heard very polarizing opinions of this book since I announced that it was going to be May's choice. I've either heard get the tissues ready or I'll never get that time back. Because a lot of you throughout the month will comment on random videos saying, "Oh, I just read this one of the book club picks," and then you'll give me like a quick look, and I love it. Please continue to do that because I love getting little reviews from you guys as the month goes on. Because I don't read my book club books until like the week before book club because I like it to be like fresh in my mind. Oh, during the sisters one is when I quit it. So like maybe if I would have held out, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe this book will go on pause instead of it being like an official DNF. All I know is that I do not have the bandwidth to read it right now. Like it just could not. It was not doing it for me. Anyway, I have no idea. I read the blurb and I know it's about time travel. So as always, I'm hopeful. And then for my post read thoughts, I wrote, for the first time ever, I have to DNF. In the history of book club, I've always pushed through, but this book was just way too much of a struggle for me. I would read a page twice and still be unsure if I understood what was happening. I just can't do it anymore. I'm so sorry. Hillary, the way that books are picked is that you guys give me suggestions on what you would like to read for next month. I narrow it down to an easier list. Nikki, the queen of cyberspace, she makes a Google voting thingy, questionnaire, whatever, that you guys fill out, and then I give you a few days to vote, and then whatever wins the vote is what wins and what we'll read, and then I choose a surprise book that's always going to be written by a non-white author. So you can choose one or the other, neither, both, whatever. So we can, like, I don't even know if I had that many annotations to even get through. I will say, okay, let me ask you a quick question. If you were to go to this cafe, okay, knowing all of the rules, and for those of you who quit before you found out the rules are very strict. You only have until your coffee gets cold. You can only sit in one specific seat. And you have to wait for some broad to get up and leave, who is a ghost and never leaves. You can only go back in time to the cafe and like, so it's not like you can go wherever in time. Like there are so many strict stipulations of like when you can time travel. Would you do it? You can only sit in the chair one time. So you can only travel in time one time. Oh, and you can only visit people that you know or something, right? Okay. So that when I was reading it, before I quit it, I've got no regrets of nobody. The only way that I could think that it would be worth it is if like you and your parent or you and your child or you and your best friend went and had coffee together and then they unexpectedly died. And then you wanted to go just to have like one last like chat with them or something, or like make amends. Like if, you got into an argument with your, parent or relative and then they unexpectedly passed away and then you wanted to say sorry or something like that. Like, yeah, I know that the whatever chapter it was, like the girl went to the future. I know that. I got that far. Before the coffee gets cold. That's the book we're talking about. That was the sisters one. Yeah, that's when I quit during the sisters chapter. I didn't even make it that far. I only made it like 6 pages into it. I should listen to it. Okay, maybe I'll make that my Audible for this next month. But like definitely for like the first so for like the first chapter of like the boyfriend and the girlfriend, I was just so confused. Oh, and like nothing can change about your situation. Like she was told, you can go back in time and talk to your ex-boyfriend, but just know that it's not going to change the outcome at all. He's still going to go to America. You're still going to be broken up. Nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to be different. So, no, Anna, I'm not adding anything to Pango today. So it's like, why even bother? Why bother doing it? Why bother going through all of that for nothing? I wouldn't have wasted it on a boyfriend. I listened to it and it was still boring. Hmm. Maybe I'm just not like deep enough. She was whiny. See, okay, Jenny, I totally understand that. But it even said in the book, she still couldn't be completely honest and vulnerable with him. So it's like, I totally understand like using this opportunity to get off your chest, like whatever, and to like apologize or to tell somebody you love them for the last time, this, that, and the other. But to like go back and then still like not have the courage to like be completely honest makes no sense. As a psychotherapist, I did appreciate some of the depth, but it required way too much work to get it. I was just like, call him. Right? He didn't move to another planet. Like he still has a phone, I'm sure. There always has to be suffering. Oh no. She was too dramatic for me. Well, it seems as though those that liked it, you really liked it. And those that didn't, really didn't. I feel like this is like very, very polarizing. So I'm not gonna like I don't think I'll officially DNF it. I just don't have the brain power to read it at the moment. It made me feel kind of not smart. Same. It made me feel kind of dumb that I was like not understanding what was happening. Well, I'm really glad that you liked it. Nothing can make me read the second one. Yes, we already discussed book one, but when this is over, I will be posting the whole entire discussion onto my other place where you go that has the red button that you can watch the whole enchilada in case you missed it. So sorry, this second book discussion was very brief because I like have really nothing to say. So we can just move right along. But if you want, for those of you to only if you want it. For those of you who read this book and want a place to discuss it, I can make a video and you guys can just use that comment section to have chats about it if you guys want. Don't waste your own. Okay, I won't. Yeah, just to talk. Use the video, the comment section of that video, just to talk amongst yourselves. Oh, you don't need to have me in consideration for next month's book whatsoever. I will make it happen. However, whatever gets chosen. Oh, I don't know how long the storygraph thing stays up, but there's the discussion there for it. Oh, okay. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so let me number my page here. Okay. So if this is your Please make the video. I'm frustrated and need to vent. You got it. You got it. Nope, nothing. Everything is going to be exactly how it always is. Just because I'm moving it does not matter. It's all going to be good. It's all going to be good. Do not worry. One by one, I just read that one. And I already posted my annotations for it, so it kind of spoils my opinion about it. Okay, so hold on. Don't give suggestions yet. Here's the rules. These be the rules, okay? I won't write down a single book on this list that's under the St. Martin's Press imprint. If you have questions about that, Google it. I will not write any book on this list that I've already read before because I feel like that's cheating. Okay. I like to read it for the first time with you guys to experience it. I also will not write anything on here that's by a known problematic author. So there you go. Please try to include the author in your comment so I can write it down because I don't know authors off the top of my head. Okay? Rules must be not like before coffee gets cold. Ooh. So, okay. And just off the bat, Charity, Kristen Hanna is under the St. Martin's Press imprint, so I will not be adding that. Okay, go. I really need some like Jeopardy music for this part. Because it's just like so oddly quiet. Da-da-da, da-da-da. I'll just sing to you guys. Ooh. Oh no, my pen is dying. Da-na-na, da-na-na. Okay. I feel like this delicious death has been on the last like 4 or 5 months voting. It's like we always have one that we just keep not picking. The poisons we drink. Strange Sally Diamond got that one. Oh, Shutter Ramona. My Sharona. Oops. Okay. Between. Oh, I like Jocelyn Jackson. I don't know if that's. Da, da, da. Between Georgia. Ooh, Diary of Blood. That's a good one. You haven't read that one yet, Nikki? That one's good. Chain Gang All-Stars. I think I might make my surprise pick. Surprise. Because I did ship that to myself. Ask for Andrea. We read that last year. Just the Nicest Couple. We read that last year too. Gathering. Study and Drowning. Got that one. Tess Combs, The First Breath. Nikki, I'm for sure going to have to rewrite this list for you because it is so sloppy chicken scratch. Like I could barely even read and understand this. The Appeal Janice. Ah. The Insiders. Okay, I'm gonna write down just like 2 more. The Mask, Dean Koontz. I think I shipped that one to myself. Maybe I didn't. I think I have that one though. Jessica Hastings, never. That's the last one. Okay. Okay, so the way you guys can stop suggesting books now. So I have this chicken scratch list. I'm gonna vet it to make sure that they, are all okay for us to read, and then I'm gonna limit it down to just 10 instead of it being so many. And then Nikki will make us the Google Doc for you guys to vote. That's how we've been doing it for a few months now, and I think that it works out pretty well. And so we will have that up for a few days because today is only the 26th. So we will have voting open. It'll be available for you guys to start voting in like a couple hours. And then it'll be open until the 1st. And then the 1st is when I'll let you guys know which book won. And then I'll let you know what the second surprise choice will be. So I wrote down, these are the ones that I wrote down. So you can have a little party if I picked yours. Neverwhere, Neil Gaiman. Study in Drowning, Ava Reed. Night Watching, Tracy Sierra. Mind-Bending Murders. I didn't catch the author, but that seemed kind of like a relatively original title. So maybe I'll just find it off the first one. Strange Sally Diamond. Little Monsters by Adrian, something with a B last name. Home is Where the Bodies Are. I think that's what it is. The Geneva Rose one. This Delicious Death. The Poisons We Drink. I didn't catch the author for that one. Shudder. Between Georgia by Jocelyn Jackson. The Gathering, CJ Tudor. The First Breath by Tess Combs. The Appeal. The Insiders, The Mask, and Never by Jessica Hastings. Those are all the ones that I was able to pick. Yes. Yes, we can. Oh my God, my pen is toast. Yes, yes, yes. We could totes do that. Coolio. But I definitely have to rewrite this list because it is a mess. Yay! I don't believe so. Everything Bagel. I don't think I did. But not intentionally. Check out messages. Okay. Thank you so much. Yay. Oh, thank you. So when I on the 1st, when I find out what won, I'll make a video letting you guys know what won and what day we'll have book club. Unless it's a holiday, book club is always the last Sunday of the month. So you just started Flawless. That's a good one. And then the Google Doc will be in the link tree in my bio. It'll be the very first link in the link tree in my bio, but you gotta wait like an hour for Nikki to make it. So yeah, and book club is always at noon wherever I am. But I'll let you guys know that in the video that I post on the 1st. So you will do my bestest and fastest. So I'm unfortunately not gonna have a chitty chat with all of you guys. So I have literally a million things that I have to do. So this we hopefully next month it will be a more chill and longer book club. Because I'm a very busy lady today, so I can't sit here and chat with you all day long, even though that would be fun. So okay. Thank you for a wonderful book club, y'all. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Hope you enjoy the holiday tomorrow and have a safe, fun, whatever you're doing. And don't worry, you're still going to get at least one video from me for the foreseeable future, okay? Even if I'm moving, I have so many videos that I have filmed and put in my drafts for you guys. So you're still going to get at least one every day, okay? And then on Friday, keep your eyes peeled for the farewell to Carl video. I'm so excited for it. I hope you guys like it because I worked really hard on it. So, okay. Yeah, and if you missed this discussion, it will be up on my YouTube in a little bit because I'm live there right now with all of you guys over here. Okay? Okay. All right. So I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'll talk to you guys later. Okay, bye. And to all 8 of you, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Okay, love you so much. Bye.